Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, The NeverEnding Story by Shauna Yordi. This is going to be a long one, because it's a never-ending story. So there once upon a time, there was a boy named Sebastian. Crap. Did I mess up already? I think his name is Sebastian. Oops. I forget what his name is. And he is in a thunderstorm in a big house. And he finds a beautiful old book, and it has a snake thing like this on it. Emblem or something. And he opens the book and he starts to read it. And it's crazily storming outside. And inside the book is the never-ending story. And he gets into this book in his brain, and he goes to this land where the darkness is taking over, which is called the Nothing. And it's the scariest freaking thing that ever happened, ever. The Nothing is so scary, and it's just taking away their world. And it's a whole planet called, I don't remember what. I don't know if it's called something. And there's always somebody coughing in my videos. And there is a princess, a little tiny princess, and she lives in a magical castle. And there's a boy named Atreyu, who is a magical man. I don't think he's magical at all, but he's like a human, and he wears a fluffy shirt from the 80s. And he has to find the princess and save her, because the whole castle is getting eaten away by the Nothing. And so he goes on a journey with his fancy horse that's beautiful, and his friend, the dog dragon, the luck dragon, whose name is Falcor, and he says, Falcor! And Falcor's really cool, and I wanted to ride him when I was little. And he meets a rock muncher, who's a giant guy who eats rocks, and I had nightmares about him, even though I really like him a lot. That's irrelevant. And all sorts of neat magical creatures, and he has to go through a labyrinth, and he almost dies, and he gets stuck in the mucky muck, and it's like quicksandy mucky stuff, and he has to get out, and I think the horse saves him. And God, why do I feel like, oh, and his name's Atreyu, I might have said that already. And he battles all kind of crazy things in this crazy land, and the Nothing just keeps coming and is like killing stuff, and it's really scary. And then he gets to the end, and he finds the princess, and she has a really eerie voice, and she's a tiny little person with hardly any hair, and she has a beautiful outfit and a headpiece on with pearls or something. And what else happens? I don't remember what happens at the end. At the end, there is no end, because there's no end to the story. But I think that he pretty much saves the day. Everything's crashing down, and you think that the world's going to totally end. Oh, and then you go back into Sebastian, or Bastion's, time. Oh, and the girl, oh, I know what happens. I think they have to name, the girl doesn't have a name. And then she yells, oh, and at one point there's a gate, and there's a quiz where the guy has to do a quiz, and nobody ever gets through it, and there's big heads there, and they strike you with lightning if you get the answers wrong or something like that. That's how he gets to the girl at the end, I think. Anyway, when he gets there, he has to come up with a name for the girl or something, and somehow that's going to save the day. God, I really like the story. Why can't I think of how it goes? And then the girl somehow knows that Sebastian, or Bastion, because she says, Bastion, or something like that with her tiny voice. And she asks him to save the day, and he's the one, then, really, who has to shout out the name. Right? And then he yells the name into the book, and saves the day. I'm pretty sure. I think that's how it goes. And then everybody gets saved. And Falcor lives. And that's all that matters. The end.